Park shooting shots, they just want me to fade. But my game made when I'm getting buckets today. Crossover, pull up, bet you fall for the hezzy. Game 7 prime time is butterflies on your belly, now can you do it? Folding under the pressure, boy, can you do it? If you going, show 'em who better. Don't let the game slip and don't get caught in the lights. Crown me, yeah, Jordan taking off on the
Baby,
flight.
give me all them rings right now, we the champions. We the champions. I do my thing right now and it can't be done. They said it can't be done. Give me all them rings right now, we the champions. We the champions.
Yes, sir. What's going on? It's your boy AB here, and I'm coming back at you again for another installment of Open Gym Podcast presented by Open Gym Network right here. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell everybody to be here for all the dopest content, visuals, my thoughts, everything, man. We here every week with it. I try to pump out one to two episodes each week for you guys, man. Make sure the things keep coming. Make sure y'all know what's going on and how we stepping in this place, man. But I'm just gonna hop right back into it, man. It's been a fun season so far within the NBA, especially with our Philadelphia 76ers. And something just was on my mind. I just wanted to step out and get your thoughts on it as well, man. I want to give you where I'm coming at from it. And then obviously in the comments, you know what I mean, let me know what's going on, man. Like how you feel about it. If anything strikes you, if anything, sparks your interest or conversation, anything like that, man, just let me know. But, my daily just, looking through stats, highlights, the standings, things of that nature. I got stuck on the standings today, just looking at, the East and West. Obviously, you got the Nuggets in the West, 47-24. But then look over in the Eastern Conference, and the Sixers are 47-22, and literally would be the best team in the West right now with the real MVP on the team, like the other guy. But I'm not going to even get into it because we already know who the MVP is, leading the league in scoring once again, and Joel Embiid averaging 10 rebounds, stuff like that. It feels more like a sympathy MVP now more than anything if he's to win it. But I know they'll try to find any way to try not to get that man MVP this year. But I'm not going to go down that road this time. I'm just going to stick to the standings. And when it comes to the Eastern Conference, obviously right now 1 through 4, you got the Bucks, Celtics, 76ers, and you got the Cavs. The Bucks with a record of 50-20, the Celtics are 49-22, and then the 76ers are 47-22. We're going to stick with those three right now. Obviously, the East is definitely up this year. The West is definitely more of a toss-up, a little more wide open as more teams are more closer together, and literally all the teams that's in the West could possibly knock each other off essentially to get to the NBA Finals. But I want to just talk about how the Sixers are only 2.5 games out of the first place, and in the playoffs, I'm not going to use the word fear any of the other teams because obviously, I don't think they fear each other. Because they wouldn't be in professional sports and it would be as good as they are if they feared other teams. But definitely, have a healthy respect. Definitely, teams to look out for. But definitely, I feel like the 76ers have a great chance of making the NBA Finals this year, and especially the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm just looking at the teams and how they've been playing as of late. Obviously the Bucks and the Celtics, losing a couple games these past couple weeks, and then to teams like, the Houston Rockets, Oklahoma City, stuff like that. I just wanted to talk about how, like, the 76ers right now have a great chance, and I feel like has a great opportunity, even now, even this year, presently constructed, even how things have turned out in the past when it came to the 76ers. In the playoffs that still have a great chance, and the window is still open for this team to make the Eastern Conference Finals and make the NBA Finals. And for these reasons, specifically, obviously, you look at the Bucks. The Bucks are obviously a good team, great team. Have the former MVP on there, Giannis, who's a dog, who's a hard worker, who goes 100 at 10% each and every day. And he just had a quote the other day, like he do this because he hungry. He know where he came from. He know he know he doesn't want to lose this life, essentially, like that, and what he's doing for his family and things of that nature. So which drives him each and every day. Obviously, you got the Celtics young studs who was just in the NBA Finals. Obviously, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, a dynamic duo down there. You know, got the Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Al Horford veteran. You know, Derek White and Michael Brogdon. You know, team is very deep, very talented, very versatile. But the 76ers this year, man, and I know I've spoke about Joel Embiid in the past and what he's done and what he's can do just being healthy in the playoffs, but I feel like the team as a whole this year has been playing great. The team as a whole this year, obviously ups and downs, that's the ebbs and flows of the NBA season. You're going to have bad games, you're going to have terrible games, you're going to lose by 1, you're going to lose by 20. You know, but as of late, even being down 15, 20 points in certain games, the way they fight, the way they persevere, the way they fight back and never give up, whereas times you would see them and think, you know, games are over, but they fight, you know, just like the other night against the Cavs, you know, being down. Just like you got people like George Niang, you know, making sure, hitting big shots. Tyrese Maxey hitting big shots, making great plays. James Harden, who's just been, as of late, sensational. We could put that to bed about how hurt he was, or if he was hurt, or is he washed or anything like that. It's obvious like that the man was hurt, and that a healthy James Harden, even at a stage like this, age stage like this, is very productive and definitely can still go out there and get buckets. But not only that, the transformation and the evolution that he's going to, becoming more of a point guard. Chris Paul, like a facilitator, leading the NBA in assists. Who would have thought James Harden, of all people, would lead the NBA in assists? We talk about James Harden, cross, step back, 3. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, James Harden leading the league in assists and is running me well. And then the star of the show, Joel Embiid, leading the league in scoring once again. Been playing sensational. So first season that the team has been together all year. You know, the most complete team since the Jimmy Butler year. When you had Jimmy Butler, when you had Bellinelli, when you had Ilyasova on the team as well. They just didn't have that time. You know, that was put together throughout the year. As the year went on, it was put together. So they didn't really have that camaraderie. But this team, the core of this team has been together literally all year. The core, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, PJ Tucker. And all you PJ Tucker people out there too, I'm going to get to him as well. Y'all owe that man an apology. I already said mine because I was the same one. I don't want to pay no 40 rule 20. I get it. I absolutely get it. But the man has shown his worth as well. But I'm going to get to that as well. I'm not going to jump the gun. But definitely just wanted to speak on the standings. Essentially, we're 2.5 games out of the first spot. And the Sixers can potentially end the season in the second seed. Celtics haven't been rolling like they should have been as of late. Sixers can potentially go into the playoffs, first 2 rounds, definitely having a home playoff game to start, and if it goes to Game 7, having a home playoff game in Game 7 once again. So from starting the season off 10-10, that's a hell of a job and very impressive to see them come to this point, especially post All-Star break. I know, people was, upset about Joel playing in the All-Star break, or what the hell is James Harden doing while on All-Star break, because we know damn well he wasn't in Utah. No one was out there. But definitely those are things. But since that time, things just been clicking and things just has been going. And I say the East, I would say, is up for grabs. I'm not going to say it's open or wide open as like the West, because the West is definitely a lot of teams from 1 to 6. You can even add 7 in the standings that potentially knock each other off in the playoffs. It's just all about the battle of attrition over there right now. You got a lot of different players that are hurt. But within these top 3 teams, and if you want to add the Cavs in there, me personally wouldn't. Not that they wouldn't give you a fight, give the Sixers a fight. Not that they wouldn't win any games in the series. Not at all. I would never say that. I just think they're just not ready. I look at the Sixers team as, it's a veteran team, been there, done that, not necessarily have the greatest playoff success, but they're hungry. They look like and they play like they really want it this year, essentially. So, formidable team, great players. Darius Garland, who's one of my favorite point guards. Donovan Mitchell, obviously Mr. 71 himself. Evan Mobley, who I like as well, even when he came out of college. Jared Allen, anchor it. The list goes on. But I'm going to deal with these 3 at the top with the Bucks and the Celtics and the Sixers. Let's start with the Bucks. We all know Giannis is over there. We all know. Brook Lopez, Grayson Allen, who everyone hates. Drew Holiday, very underrated player, all defense. Great. I love Drew. I loved him since he was even a Sixer. They have a chink. They haven't been playing as well as of late, losing some games down the stretch to teams that they shouldn't have lost to, things that I would expect the Sixers to do because they've done it in the past. But the Sixers are starting to do the opposite, just like last night against the the Charlotte Hornets, taking care of them in 3 quarters. James Harden didn't have to go off. Joel Embiid went off because he was just that dominant, but he had damn near 30 points at halftime. He scored 30 plus points, almost 40 in 3 quarters. So let you know how that game went. The Bucks, you got all those guys. You got a guy like Chris Middleton that's back, but obviously, he's hampered. Haven't fully recovered, rather is physically, and you can see it physically, doesn't have the burst, doesn't have the lift on the jump shot like he used to, doesn't get out and run like he used to, and definitely wasn't the best defender in the past, but definitely guys are moving around him, and definitely, he's getting a bit picked on, people putting him in pick and rolls and things of that nature. So definitely, it's just Giannis out there, if y'all want to say that. Because if you're sitting there talking about Brook Lopez is going to be the number 2 in Milwaukee in the playoffs, that's not happening. That's not happening. So I can see us going up against the Milwaukee Bucks and putting that pressure on them and really, beating them. Easy? No. Sweet? No. Never. Come on. Giannis is still former MVP, still a dog. He gonna bust his ass to make sure he go out there and try to will his team to a win. So I'm not going to say it's easy because none of this is going to be easy. I told you the West is wide open. This East is going to be tough matchups throughout. But why I believe the Sixers actually can move past them as a team, other than obviously Joel Embiid doing what he's supposed to do and doing what he's been doing, even when matched up against those guys during this year, showing that 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, he's going to be the best player on the floor in these Eastern playoffs. Yeah, you can debate it with when he's on the floor with Giannis, obviously. I mean, Giannis won the MVP, won the championship, so you can debate that. And Giannis is arguably the best player in the NBA. But Joel Embiid is right there with him as well. And skill, he's just got to get the other side of things, winning. The hardware, the accolades. That's right. Who's their number 2? Who's the Bucks' number 2? Is it going to be Drew? Drew isn't the lethal scorer. Can he score? Absolutely. That's not his role out there. Defend, get people involved. Brook Lopez. Again, if you want him to be the number 2, want him, the 7-footer standing out of the 3-point line, shooting threes all day, be my guest. Be my guest. Because I'll take that any day, anytime. I know they're number 1 in the East right now. They started off very well, and at one point, I believe they won like 17 games in a row or something. It was something stupid. It It was something crazy. But definitely, I feel like there's an angle where you can get in there, even if we have to go to Milwaukee and steal a game or two. I wouldn't want it to go to game 7. But if it came down to it, I still have the faith of us persevering and doing what we need to do. We've seen it all year, being down 15, being down 20 against this team. Hot teams having historical shooting nights. And somehow we win games that we know dang on well that team we shouldn't have won. That's the type of team we have this year. The Celtics. The dynamic duo out there, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Bouncy, athletic, skilled, run. Deep team, deep bench. Derek White, Michael Brogdon coming out the bench. Marcus Smart, still there, defensive player. Robert Williams. Al Horford, who for some reason don't do crap all year, but when he want to play against the Sixers, he can hit 4 threes in a row. Out of nowhere, keep a team in the game. Stuff like that. That's going to be a tough out as well. And nothing's going to be easy in these playoffs. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. But just like they have a bench, just like they're deep, which has been shown this year as well, especially the second half of the season at the All-Star break, we have a team too. We have a bench that's capable now. You don't have Korkmaz being your 6th man coming off the bench. No shots at Corky. No shots at Cork. But it is what it is. So match up with the benches. Deeper, more rounded. Love the addition of Jalen McDaniels. And I might as well get into it right now. Because I had to do it myself. The PJ Tucker hate, yes, he might not score. I get it. And I had to come a believer too. But we owe the man an apology. I feel like they've been saving him, or he's been saving himself. Now he's getting geared up, ready, with 13, 12 games left in the season. Offensive rebounds, hustle points, 50-50 balls, tap outs, guarding the best player on the other team, guarding centers. Y'all owe PJ Tucker an apology out there, people. Y'all owe PJ Tucker an apology. I don't know how long it'll last. I don't know if it's, especially the length of the contract. He had 3 years. But for this singular season, PJ Tucker, I can see the man's worth. It doesn't show up in the box score. It doesn't show up in the box score all the time. No, he's never going to have 21 points, 17 points, 18 points. He might get 6 out of them on a good night, 8, 9 on an extraordinary night. When he hitting those corner threes, but he's going to bang. He's going to guard. He's going to defend. Going to get rebounds, 50-50 balls, hustle. He shows his worth, does all the things that will alleviate pressure from, especially down in the paint where Embiid has to do everything, where you got to score, where you got to defend, where you got to rebound. Even though Embiid has been rebounding out of his mind as of late, he's going to do the little things. I've seen him, PJ Tucker, get 2 offensive rebounds in 1 possession off tip-outs because he's just in position, because he's using his lower center of gravity, moving people out the way, getting to the ball, rather. Yeah, man. PJ Tucker, I can see the worth. He stay healthy. He stay like that. You got to know him playoff P. That's going to be playoff P. Playoff P. We see you, PJ. But yeah, man. Deep, well-rounded. Jalen McDaniels, like I mentioned, versatile, can guard 1 through 5, depending on the lineups out there. If it's small ball lineup, something that you needed to, not Tobias, needed Matisse Thybulle to do, which he never could really get to. I don't know if it was a thing of comfortability or confidence or whatever it might be, but this is what we needed. You know, he's 6'9", 7-foot wingspan, long. You know, can get out and run, put back dunks, rebounds, face up, guarding people. You know, and then when he's open, he's knocking down the three as well when his opportunity comes, which we need. You can't be on the floor if you can't put the ball in the hole. Pause. But, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So definitely moves like that will help going on when you go up against a Boston that has a deep team that got a couple players coming off the bench that is going to be effective in their system. You can match that now. You know? You can match that now. And when Maxey's starting, they have another defender, a 3-and-D guy coming off the bench in Melton. You know? Long wingspan. I know he's 6'2", 6'3", but 7-foot wings, 6'11", 6'10" wingspan. You know, can guard 1 through 3. Can knock down the three. You know, so we have a lot of players that can match us. So in the past, where you would say the Celtics are such a deep team that we could never hang with them because they can have the interchangeable parts, and so many players that can come in and affect the game, we have that to match that now. And we can mix it up because then also I've seen as well, I know it's a lot of credit that's going around, you know, obviously with P.J. Tucker, James Harden, and I know the one guy that everyone hates because, again, he has to prove himself as well, Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers has shown some improvement, has shown the willingness to adjust, have shown in-game adjustments, which we've been waiting for from him for so long, which we've been talking about and saying for so long. He's finally doing that as well, staggering minutes with your starters, whereas they're always one of the starters on the floor is all time with these with the bench players. You aren't having 5 players out there all bench. This is not a game of 2K. You cannot do that in the game of 2K because especially in the playoffs. Always having a beat on the floor. Always having James Harden on the floor. Having Tyrese Maxey out there with a James Harden or having Tyrese Maxey out there with a Joel Embiid. You know? Using the young players, the young athletic players, actually giving them an opportunity. Having them being able to go out there and play freely without having to feel like if I make a mistake, I'm going to get pulled immediately. Someone like a Paul Reed. Where obviously, a friend of mine, we call his game a controlled chaos game because he can get a little wonky, you know. But listen, he got 6 fouls to play with. Let that man rumble. Let that man rumble. But all in all, he's scrappy, rebounds, putbacks, you know, athletic, can defend, love the little small ball lineup. If it's not PJ at the 5, you have him, Jalen McDaniels, James Harden, Melton, you know, Tyrese Maxey, that run and gun offense, that you know, for short spurts, taking it back to Houston where James Harden just out there running with them young cats. Got lob threats. And you've seen the trust is even with the players. James Harden in the pick and roll or Tyrese Maxey in the pick and roll with Paul Reed, either or, they throwing the oop to him, giving it to him in the post. Go get a bucket, young man. And Doc is it doesn't go if Doc doesn't let that go. So those are things that we have to look at that is making this team better. It's making this team more cohesive. It's making this team really be a force and a something for other teams to look out for. So these are all things that I feel like definitely going to play a part in the Sixers actually advancing in these playoffs this year. That I really believe that we get into the playoffs, we can make some noise. I know what happened in the past. I know what we've seen in the past, how heartbroken we were, but it's definitely a different feel to the season. Obviously, Joel Embiid, MVP level. Obviously, James Harden having statistically, if not his best, one of his best years. 40% from three, 87% from the free throw line, averaging 20, 21, 22 points a game, 6 rebounds, leading the league in assists with 10. James Harden leading the league in assists. Come on. With his running mate and Joel Embiid leading the league in scoring. Averaging 10 rebounds his own self. This team is definitely something to be reckoned with. These other teams, they have weaknesses. And then the Celtics, who always gave us problems in the past, we finally can match up with them now. Even guys like Shake Milton and George Niang. Spot minutes coming in hitting big shots. Spot minutes making a play. And through it all, since being reinserted back into the starting lineup, Tyrese Maxey, who had his moments of, not being who we thought he was, obviously getting injured this year as well, the X factor. The young man is not afraid, not afraid of the moment, not afraid of the big shot, not afraid of the play. But what is key to this is defense. We all know in the playoffs, Maxey's an undersized guard. They try to put him in pick and roll situation, isolate him, get him on the players on the other team. But the energy and the effort that he's starting to put into the defensive end now helps the team so much more and helps that he can be on the floor even more. Because you need that offensive impact on the floor. Because as much attention is going to Joel Embiid and then James Harden, who's been pick and roll maestros all year. Basketball is so simple sometimes, but the pick and roll is just lethal with them too. You sort of kind of forget that Tyrese Maxey's over there when he gets the ball. It can go off at any night for 20-plus points. It can go off at any night and hit 4 threes. These are the things that we didn't have in the past that we have now, the versatility, the depth, the interchangeable parts, the defense, the scrappiness, the toughness, the execution late, the coaching. Things that we were missing in the past. It was something always missing. But these guys are putting a great campaign together this second half of the season. I look forward to seeing how this transpires into the playoffs. Because it's going to be something to look to. So I really do feel like the Sixers, one, can end the year in the second seed. That's definitely an option. Absolutely an option. That's absolutely an option. The Sixers ending the season with the second seed, hosting playoff games, home games. We ready. We ready. No excuses. It's lined up for us. It's just all about putting it together. It's all about putting it together. Finally putting it together. You have the MVP of the league. Probably could have said it past 2 years. At least last year for sure. You have a top 75 player in the NBA in James Harden who's reinsurged. Has shown that he was injured and that he still can ball, that he still can put up points, that he can be a running mate to a star in Joel Embiid, that if he shows up in the moments that needs to be in the moments, hitting big shots where he needs to hit big shots while also getting everyone fed. Chris Middleton hurt. other than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who's offensively put it on that bird. Who can they put it on when you got someone they waiting in the wing like Tyrese Maxey that also could put up 20 points? And if you get anything from Tobias Harris, I mean anything, anything from Tobias Harris, it's a cherry on top. It's a cherry on top. It's the cherry on top. I appreciate your time. It's your boy AB, man. This is what I've been thinking. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. You know, we doing this every week, man. It's Open Gym Network. We here with it. Sixers playoffs. We're gonna see how this game. See how these games end this season and see how this playoffs go. Because I really feel like the Sixers have a very, very good. We thought the window was closing. We have a very great opportunity this year. We ain't gonna move next year just yet. Have other thoughts on that, but and not bad. But this year, speaking, how things are setting up, how these guys are playing, how these guys are executing, it's a very good chance to not only pass the second round and into the Eastern Conference Finals, but also making their way to the NBA Finals. Yes, sir, it's the boy AB, man, Open Gym Network. Make sure you tap in with us every week, man. Make sure you like, comment, share, hit the notification button, subscribe, do everything. Tell everybody. Make sure you're here to get all the freshest content, all the freshest visuals when it comes to this sport world, man. We doing it big over here, and we doing it for you, man. Welcome to Open Gym Network.